Hello, everybody. My name is Tomislav Marjanovic. You can call me Tomo. You guys can see a QR code up there if you guys want to learn a little bit about my company. I am the founder and owner of Rejuvenation Clinic. Being a founder, of course, I was paying attention very much so to that last presentation, something a lot of you founders will know. So, hormone optimization and the business of HRT. You guys heard a little bit about me already. Again, my name is Tomo. I am advanced bioidentical hormone replacement therapy certified. I am not a medical doctor. I am actually the owner of the business. I'm an entrepreneur. I became the first advanced HRT person through WorldLink Medical in the United States. Everybody else in these courses were all doctors, practitioners. So we're going to talk about what hormone therapy is today, what it means in the future, and what the business of hormones actually is. Hormone optimization therapy and hormone replacement therapy. Everybody knows about hormone replacement therapy. Women have been doing it for years. It's been used in postmenopausal therapy for generations. A newer version of hormone therapy is going to be testosterone therapy, become very popular in the United States, also become very popular across Europe, and I'm sure here in the Middle East. So with hormone replacement therapy, you are talking about replacing adequate amount of hormones that people are losing. When we're talking about hormone optimization therapy, we are talking about optimizing hormone levels for people to fight the aging process, to fight metabolic disease, to fight what happens as we age. So everybody in this crowd, I assume that everybody is probably over the age of 30 minimum. Is anybody under the age of 30? We have a few. So most of you that are under the age of 30 may not experience any of this. Although in the United States, people as young as 25 are starting to feel a decline in hormone levels. That is due to environmental issues, that is due to the food supply, that is due to toxic water, as well as hormones in the water. This is a really big problem with the use of birth control in the United States. Oral contraceptives. It's getting into the water supply. The water supply is very dirty, okay? So what's going on is these hormone declines are happening earlier and earlier in people. I will give you a personal story. I started to have a hormone decline when I was around 29 to 30 years old. Now, I will preface that I was working as a police officer for 12 years before I was in business, before I was doing anything in hormones. I was a law enforcement officer in Ohio in the United States and in Florida in the United States. I worked midnight shift for years. Anybody that knows disrupting your circadian rhythm and having midnight shift work I did it for almost 10 out of my 12 years, will very much disrupt your health and your hormones. So I started to feel that decline very early. Okay, 30 years old I consider early. I searched for doctor after doctor, and I kept getting the same answer. Your hormones are fine. That was the answer. My hormones were fine. They weren't telling me what was optimal. They weren't telling me what was suboptimal. And they were not telling me or asking me what was my level of hormones when I was younger. Most people don't test it. I happen to be somebody who did. I was a competitive bodybuilder for years. I was a international fitness model as well. So I knew hormones very well. I studied them from the age of 17 on. And I had a hormone level, testosterone level specifically is what I'm talking about. I had a natural testosterone level of 1460 at 19 years old. That is not without taking testosterone. That was my natural normal level. So my optimal level of testosterone at 1460 is completely off the chart when you look at blood tests when it comes to testosterone for men. It tops out at about 900. So when my body dipped under 600, I had every symptom in the book. Brain fog. I had low sex drive, low libido. You start to get erectile dysfunction issues. You name it. The mental clarity goes away. I was still working in law enforcement at this time when this decline happened. So you can imagine, I'm a police officer. I carry a gun every day. I'm working midnight shift. My brain doesn't work. My strength is gone. I'm starting to gain body fat. This was all due to hormones. So very, very important part of me functioning as a human is having those hormone levels optimal. I'm not going to read you everything that's going on in the slide. I know everybody is hungry. I know lunch is coming up. I feel you. My stomach is growling as well. So what do we do in hormone therapy, and why is this the future of medicine? The reason that I think is the future of medicine is that there is so much that can be accomplished in human health by simply optimizing hormone levels. We are talking about stopping age-related regression, age-related disease, age-related metabolic issues. I've heard diabetes come up several times over the last couple speeches. Diabetes is a huge issue. So all of these diabetic concerns, what is causing the diabetic concerns? What is causing a lot of the diabetes in the United States, where I'm from? Weight gain. A lot of it has to do with body fat. A lot of it has to do with metabolic issues that are causing diabetic issues. How many doctors do we have here? Medical doctors. Can you guys raise your hands? Okay. Quite a few. So most of the things that you are dealing with on a daily basis are probably metabolically related. Diabetes, diabetic issues, heart disease, things of that nature. A lot of these things can be actually prevented with optimal hormones. Now, I want everybody in here to think back when they were younger. What did optimal hormones feel like? What does optimal hormones mean to you? Think of when you were 18 to 20 years old. How did everybody in the room feel? Probably like a rock star. Probably amazing. 18 to 20 years old is the peak of your hormones. So what could happen? You could twist your ankle and you heal very quickly. You could go skiing, you can fall down half that mountain. And what happens? You're back on that mountain in 2 days. You're fine. Was there a lot of issues metabolically with you? Was there any threat of diabetes? No, your blood sugar was perfectly regulated. What about body fat? What about strength? You could eat that cheeseburger, you're not going to gain 5 pounds. Now, maybe you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, you even look at a cheeseburger, you're going to gain 5 pounds. That's kind of what happens, unfortunately. So what is the problem? What actually happened from age 20, from age 18 to 20, to age 40? What happened in your environment? Not much. Cheeseburger hasn't changed. It was just as fattening 20 years ago. What changed is the way that your body processes it. So the way that your body processes your food, your hormones, the way that your body processes insulin, the way that your body metabolizes everything going on, your metabolism will crash as your hormone levels decline. And you will just not process things the way that you did. When you were 18 years old, easier to gain muscle, correct? Yes, of course it was. You could do 10 push-ups and you have like that nice pec line, men. Yes, women, flat tummy line. You get abs very easily just from doing a little sprint once a week. Now it's harder. These are all metabolic issues that have to do with your hormones. Women, testosterone, progesterone, estradiol, very important. Men, testosterone. And then for everybody, growth hormone levels. Having optimal growth hormone is absolutely imperative. That is the regenerative medicine model, by optimizing all of these hormones. So future of medicine, why would it be considered that? Because you can literally stave off all of these issues for your patients. For all of you medical doctors, look at your patients' hormone levels. If medical doctors around the country, in the United States and around the world, did what they were supposed to do in checking hormone levels very early and often, my company wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be here. The problem is that patients are now recognizing what is needed in healthcare. They're telling us. We all know what COVID did for the medical industry. We all saw what happened worldwide. So we are now in a post-COVID type of world. And what happened in my industry is people started to realize, what is more important than my health? Not much. The amount of money doesn't matter. What matters is staying healthy. So they're going away from the traditional model of medicine and they're going into a regenerative medicine or preventive medicine model where I want to prevent all of these things that happen as I age. I want to regenerate more than degrade. As you age, you hit that peak hormones around 30. Then you start to go downhill. Humans biologically were never meant to live 80 or 90 years. Thank God we can. And the reason is because of modern medicine. Now we have a longer lifespan, but we're not addressing what is happening towards the middle or end of that lifespan, which is the hormone decline. And then you start to decrease what I like to call the health span. You're decreasing the time that a patient is alive, that all of you are alive. That time needs to be spent healthy, not crippled, not in pain, not sick. So this is what we are trying to extend, not just the lifespan, but the health span of everybody. What does this mean for mainstream medicine? It's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call for you practitioners out there. It's a wake-up call for everybody that is a potential patient. It's a wake-up call saying that they want something preventive. They want to address underlying issues, underlying causes. They want to address these things because they see what happens when it is not addressed. What did COVID attack the most of? Extreme elderly people and extremely overweight people. Why did it attack overweight people? The reason is they could have been prevented, these deaths, if metabolic issues were otherwise dealt with. So they could have prevented that extreme weight gain, which ended up causing their demise. Extreme elderly people, they were about 70 plus, all these deaths. What have they been experiencing for the last 30, 40 years of their life? A hormone decline. And they are going to be more frail health-wise than anybody else. I am a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm going to touch slightly on the business of hormones, and it's a very simple one that people are just not addressing in the medical field. The medical field is kind of missing a lot of what it means to be interactive with a patient and with a customer, because patients are customers. So what they're missing is that customer aspect, the service aspect. And patients at our clinics, they want a personal, professional model. They want more time with the practitioner. You guys have all dealt with it, I'm sure. How many times have you went to a doctor after waiting 2 months, for an appointment because they're so backed up, and you're in there for 15 minutes. You only got 15 minutes, and maybe the doctor was paying attention for 7 of them. The reason this model doesn't work is because the doctor is all about speed. And who's dictating that speed? Insurance companies, hospitals, whoever owns the clinic, because there's more money to be generated when they can see 60 patients instead of 30. That's how they look at it. But what they're not seeing is how often these patients are displeased with service and eventually leave that practice. So customer service, patient care. The proper treatment is easy. Adequate education, that's what it takes. Like I said, there are medical doctors that come to our clinics and they have absolutely no idea what we're talking about because they didn't learn it. It wasn't even in their curriculum. I've been considered an expert in hormones for a couple years since I got the official seal of Advanced BHRT certified. When I started that course, the medical doctor who taught us asked everybody in the room, just like this. We were in a large auditorium, and he was teaching this. And he said, what kind of doctor is everybody? Everybody raises their hands, gynecologist, general practitioner, emergency medicine. And I'm sitting right in front with the doctor that I employ. And he said, what do you do? Because you didn't raise your hand for any of them. And I said, I'm the business owner that employs this doctor. And he said, congratulations, you're the smartest person in the room. I didn't understand what that meant until he explained it to me during break. And he said, you haven't been tainted by the medical system. You haven't been tainted by the information that is pushed, unfortunately, by big pharma, by the government, by the way that things are in the medical industry. What I'm doing is trying to disrupt what medicine really means. And what it means is an advanced level of patient care. What it means is that if you have an issue, we want to solve an underlying problem, which is how all medicine should be. I don't want to treat your symptoms. If you have certain symptoms. Some of these may surprise you for hormone therapy: depression, anxiety, okay, ADD. These are all touchy subjects. These are all mental health issues. I know there's a mental health practitioner here in the room, or there was earlier. What do these all have to do with hormones? Almost everything. A lot of the problems that older men and women, okay, we're talking about aging people, we're not talking about younger people. And of course, this is a generalization. This does not mean every single case of ADD and depression and anxiety is due to hormones, but a lot of them are. And there is proof of it. So I want you guys to look a little further when you guys start to see symptom treating from your doctors. Ask for underlying issues. Ask about your hormones. Your body is a well-oiled machine. If you guys go and drive your car, okay, when you go home, you drive your car, empty all the oil out of it. And let me know how far down the road you get. That's what your body does when your hormones are inadequate. That's what your body does when your hormones are in a decline. Your body is a motor in a vehicle without oil. It's not going to go very far. And there's going to be a lot of problems that you're going to have to correct. Optimal hormones, optimal life. That is physically, that is mentally, and that is physiologically. Your body performs better when your hormones are optimal. And every bit of proof is right in your mind when you think about when you were 18 to 20 years old. You were sharper, you had more energy, your body probably looked better, your body performed better, you healed faster. Go down the line. Write down the gambit of everything that your body performs with. That's where you are. So when I say optimal hormones, optimal life, I literally mean you can actually take your body back physiologically to a place where you were when you were younger. If we optimize your hormones to a level of when you were 20, 25, around that age group, and you optimize them and you allow your body to function that way for an extended period of time, you will legitimately function like a younger person. That is anti-aging. That is what anti-aging science is. That is what anti-aging healthcare is. That is regenerative medicine. And that's what we're trying to do. You guys can ask me questions after this. Obviously, another QR code for anybody that wants to scan it. That is, I believe, to one of my social media, which I am most active on. If you guys have questions, if you want to interact with me, please follow there. You can ask anything you need. Of course, any questions now while I have you guys here? Everybody's hungry. I understand.
First of all, I'd like to thank you. Really a very interesting session you have given and delivered to us. One thing I would like to say is you are getting into therapy and all that. So are you in an advisory role to suggest the food pattern? See, today what we have is a lifestyle disease.
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
Today what we have is a lifestyle disease. We are all stressed out. We are all compelled to do all those things which we are not supposed to do. You can't stop me tonight working on something and I go back to sleep around 1:30 a.m. in the morning. Okay. And I'm back in a certain event at 10 o'clock. So my sleep pattern is getting changed. My lifestyle is affecting my life. Very nice, very easy to preach, advice, very easy to suggest a treatment. I pay for the treatment. I do all those things. So what do you have to suggest for the rat race we have today? What do you have to suggest for the very bad lifestyle which we are all leading, where you hit the right chord by saying the oil of our life, the oil inside our bodies. So that's the right chord you hit. Whether you go to any yoga guru, you go to anybody, they all say the same thing. Everybody talks the same. And you know the subject very well. Actually, you are an author of many things which you have understood. So my question is, what do you do for those three areas which I talked to you about? The rat race, about the lifestyle jinx which we all have.
So when it comes to lifestyle, the best thing about hormone therapy that I've noticed, the best thing about optimizing your body from a hormone perspective is that you will actually mentally want to change your lifestyle. And I'll give you a perfect example. We had a patient who came in. He was either 68 or 72 years old. I'm mixing two patients up. But we had an older gentleman come in. This guy had everything in the world. Okay, this guy drove in a brand new Ferrari. He had millions of dollars in the bank account. He was dressed in the fanciest clothes you could find. And he had a beautiful wife that was 20 years younger than him. He was a happy guy, except he wasn't. He couldn't work out because everything hurt. He couldn't eat right because he would stress eat. So everything, he couldn't sleep, obviously, another huge hormone issue. So what does that have to do with him being optimized? Well, he couldn't get optimized because every doctor that he spoke to prior to coming to us never checked his hormones. So when he came in for his initial appointment, I saw him when he walked in and he brought a grocery bag full of the medications that his doctors have him on. Blood pressure medications, pre-diabetic medications, cholesterol medications, antidepressants, one of the points I made earlier, anti-anxiety. He even had antipsychotic drugs because he would become suicidal at certain points. So he had a lot of problems. So he comes in, he gets his hormone levels checked. His total testosterone level was that of a healthy young woman. He had a 37 total testosterone level. That is no way to live. So he comes in and everything hurts. He feels horrible. He's like, you need to help me. We get him on testosterone therapy. Nothing else. We didn't start him on thyroid, growth hormone, anything. We get him on testosterone therapy. He came in 8 to 9 weeks later for a follow-up appointment to get his blood work checked. His testosterone was optimal. His cholesterol levels lowered. His blood pressure was improved. And his mental state was a completely different person. He came in bragging, and this can get a little uncomfortable, but he came in bragging how many times he had sex with his wife that week. Because he couldn't do it before, he had no sex drive. He had erectile dysfunction issues. Some of the lifestyle changes he made started exercising. He didn't have the energy to do it. That was the problem. The problem wasn't the lifestyle that he was choosing. He was put into that lifestyle because his hormones were so suboptimal. He couldn't get to the gym because he was in so much pain. What happens when you start to improve hormone levels? Your body will build more collagen. Your body will start to perform in different ways. Optimizing your testosterone will actually optimize and improve your growth hormone levels. So these are things that will change lifestyle-wise for you with the hormone therapy.
You also touched about mental health, right?
I'm sorry?
On mental health.
Mental health, yes.
Yeah, mental health has got a lot of it to do with it. It's not that I'm going to blame or label anybody, but people have a mental health issue, all of us, because the kind of stress we go through, the kind of workloads we have, the kind of competitive environments we live in to meet our timelines and standards, right? Cost of living gone up, everything gone up, and things are crazy. So to meet that timeline and all that, we go back to doing what we are doing. You talked about the energy level you bring back. I step out of your clinic. This guy is whatever age he is. I'm just 50. So I come to you. I get myself treated. Everything is fine. Then what happens is you can't stop me. I go back to doing what I was doing. So it's to do with the bad lifestyle. It's to do with the attitude as well. It's to do with the whole lot. You can't guarantee. I'm just asking you, can you guarantee what you're treating is going to be lived?
So that's where my model comes, and I can skip back a couple slides real quick. That's where this model comes in handy, because the customer service and patient care aspect. How can you guarantee that a patient is going to take their medication? You can't. How can you guarantee that a patient is going to follow everything possible? You can't. I was a personal trainer for a few years when I was in college. The reason that I hated the industry and hated the profession was because I would get people that come and train with me, and I would work them hard. And they would go home and eat McDonald's. I can't do anything with that, but I also can't control that. The difference with what clinics like mine do, and I'm not the only clinic in the world that does this, the difference with clinics like mine and this preventive care model and this focus on patient care and customer service is that these patients want to be with us. These patients are reaching out to us We have been averaging 50 new patients for just one clinic in Orlando, Florida, per week. 50 new patients per week. That's unheard of in industries. So this is becoming a thing where these patients are not only wanting to be here, they are very focused on what they're there to do.
Dude, are you working on the attitude and mental health well-being as well?
Yes, we are currently in talks with multiple levels actually in the government, working with military in the United States and ex-military in the United States that deal with post-traumatic stress disorder. PTSD, depression, suicide rates in military vets, huge in the United States. And what is causing a lot of that is a lot of hormone issues. And it's due to the way they work, it's due to what they're exposed to. There's a lot that has to do with mental health. And you think about it, most of your hormones are made up in your brain. A lot of this mental health issues are starting with hormones. Your pituitary, your hypothalamus, these are all very important parts of what is going on in your body.
So I think it's a whole lot of thing to do with the physiology and psychology together here.
I'm sorry?
It's a whole lot of thing to do with the both physiology and psychology together.
Absolutely. And there's nobody that can possibly tell me that physiological issues and psychological issues aren't linked. They are extremely linked. They are dependent on each other. So making sure that your body physiologically is doing well is going to help your mental state.
So again, you can only take the horse to the water. That's it. I end with this. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are out of time for questions. I think they want to kick everybody out to lunch. Again, guys, let me forward to the end. If you guys have questions for me, you can talk to me out here. You guys can scan this QR code if you like. Thank you so much. They can keep this QR code up here, and you guys can find out more information about my clinic.
Wow.